mo kọ́kùnrin mo kóbìnrin mo kí ọmọdé mo sì kí àgbàlagbà.
Mu ci gaba da yi ma rundunar sojin ƙasar nan addu'a.
Ẹ kú lẹ́yìn tèmi, ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò wa ètò yín ètò obìnrin tó dángájá.
Waye fi cancanta a ɗauka a matsayin ɗan aikin cikin gida.
Jama'a
masu kallon tashar NTA Hausa barkamu da warhaka.
Kí ni ayẹyẹ ọdún iléyá tá máa ń ṣe lọ́dọọdún yìí rọ̀ mọ́?
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Our programs are getting better and fresher. And it's because we are thinking about you.
Hello and a very warm welcome. It's another Wednesday evening and we can tell you that Nigeria is committed to the June 2017 deadline for digital broadcasting. That's the outcome of the meeting of the Federal Cabinet today. But that's not all from Aso Rock Villa. A number of new appointees were deployed into the administrative machinery. Also tonight, the tax policy document of 2012 is up for review, just as a roadmap for backward integration in the mining sector is in the offing. These are part of the highlights on News Extra with me, Aisha Bello Mustafa. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We begin from the Aso Rock Villa, where the Federal Executive Council has stated Nigeria's irrevocable commitment towards meeting the June 2017 deadline for migration from analog to digital broadcasting in the country. Consequently, the Ministries of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Information and Culture, as well as Justice, have been directed to fashion a comprehensive strategy towards achieving the objective. The Minister of Information and Culture announced this while briefing newsmen on the outcome of the Council's meeting. Let's get more on this from our State House correspondent, Adamu Sambo.
Presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, the Federal Executive Council devoted this Wednesday's meeting to analyze issues at stake in respect of the process of migration from analog to digital broadcasting. With Nigeria missing the digital switchover deadline twice in 2012 and 2015, the Council members resolved that this time the new deadline set by the International Telecommunications Union, ITU, must be met no matter what it takes.
Council reaffirmed its support for us to meet the deadline of 2017 June, and has directed that the relevant ministries work together to achieve this deadline. The fact that we are facing temporary problems does not mean that we're not going to go at pace in the technological development all over the world. If you don't migrate, then nobody will protect any interference on your television. That's what it means, or even your communications. So it's not about whether we have a choice in the matter. If the whole world missed that deadline and there's no other extension, if we remain analog, what it will mean, even being able to view AIT or channel or NT, that's the implication. It's important that we look for the resources to digitalize.
Already the minister said the pilot scheme of the digitization program launched in Jos last April is working very well, as beneficiaries of the set-top boxes distributed at the event now receive with clarity up to 15 television channels.
Another major challenge, of course, has to do with how do you ensure that as many Nigerians as possible are able to get the set-top boxes. You cannot give them free, but you subsidize them. That's what is done everywhere in the world. And this is why we are meeting, that's my ministry, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Budget and Planning, Attorney General, and the Ministry of Communication. We are meeting to ensure that we do not meet the 2017 June deadline.
As a crucial national development program, the digital migration project, Alhaji Lai Mohammed said, will effect a significant change in the architecture of the nation's broadcast industry.
Look at the job creation that digital migration is going to bring to Nigerians. Look at the opportunity it offers our young men who are very talented to provide content to television stations. So it's going to impact very largely on the broadcast industry. With digitalization, it means today that musicians and filmmakers can release their films, release their records direct on the digital broadcast, such as video on demand and music on demand. And you are not going to cut off piracy, which has been a menace to us today.
While dismissing fears of marginalization in some quarters, the minister was emphatic that with the provisional licenses given to 3 signal providers of Pinnacle for the private sector, NTA StarTimes collaboration for the public sector, and MTAs for the conglomeration of broadcast organizations in Nigeria, there will be no preferential treatment for any station in the country. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Still from the State House comes a report that 4 new special advisors and a permanent secretary have been formally sworn in by President Muhammadu Buhari in a deliberate effort at giving more impetus to the machinery of government for effective service delivery. Adamu Sambo reports that this was at a brief ceremony that preceded the Federal Executive Council.
The 4 special advisors that were inaugurated include Mrs. Mariam Uwais on social investment, Senator Babafemi Ojudu, political matters, Tijani Abdullahi, planning, and Dr. Adeyemi Dipolu, economic matters. Apart from Tijani Abdullahi, who will operate from the Ministry of Budget and National Planning, all the other presidential aides were deployed to the office of the Vice President. Ambassador Shola Rafiu Enikanolaye, who was sworn in as permanent secretary, is moved to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to replace Ambassador Bulus Lolo, who bowed out recently after 35 years of meritorious service to Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari did not make any speech at the ceremony, but some of the appointees spoken to by NTA News say his body language as the apostle of change is well understood.
We're going to focus on the 3 main core priorities of government. The first, of course, is the economy. The economy, which means creating jobs for Nigeria, assisting industries to bounce back so that more of our youth can be employed, attracting foreign direct investment from all over the world, attracting the best of skills and technology for the economy. Mr. President has energized relations with our neighbors, with our development partners, so that we are beginning to get more assistance. We need to continue along this line and build greater consensus around that particular issue so that the current security challenges that we face can be better handled. And the third one, of course, is anti-corruption. Anti-corruption has a foreign policy dimension in terms of what kind of partnership and arrangement we can work out with various parts of the world where Nigerian assets have been stashed away. We will continue the impressive efforts of Mr. President. We're going to support him in ensuring that many of these countries understand the need to partner with us to trace those assets and ensure that they are returned for the good of the Nigerian people.
I certainly will bring all the best that I have to bear in this assignment, bringing all the knowledge that I have and all the international exposure that I have to try and support our country at this very important time.
You're coming at a time of economic downturn. What is the best way forward?
Well, the best way forward is to stay focused, not to panic, and to see through all the policies that government has put in place to fast-track implementation of them so that the effects will begin to be felt far and wide.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, ministers and family members of the new appointees witnessed the ceremony. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Nigeria is set to be one of the countries with the highest mortality rate in the world, and the Executive Director of the United Nations Population Fund, Babatunde Oshotime, says this can be reduced by 30% if Nigerian women embrace family planning. Here is State House correspondent Jide Onifade with that report.
The executive director who led a delegation on the visit to the vice president urged government to invest in the life of women so that they would be able to make informed decisions on family planning, stating that the United Nations Population Fund is committed to helping the women in these aspects.
There are still parts of our country where, births are not registered, deaths are not registered. We don't know the actual thing that is happening within society. We need to have that so that at the touch of a button, we can have real data about people, where they are, who they are, and what characteristics they do have, so that planning for national development could be appropriate.
Professor Babatunde Oshotimehin said he had discussions with the vice president on a number of issues, which include creating opportunities for Nigerian youth in contributing to national development and the implementation of the new Sustainable Development Goal.
And we at the United Nations would like to assist Nigeria to put together, as they plan and they execute, that these goals will make a difference to the lives of Nigerians.
He said the United Nations and its arms would continue to assist the country in bringing succor to the people of Northeast. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
In another development, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has reiterated federal government's commitment to the reduction of tobacco use among citizens, particularly exposure of underage children to smoking. A press statement by the Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Laolu Akonde, says Vice President Osinbajo, while receiving leaders of anti-tobacco non-governmental organization groups in the country, lamented inadequate information about the dangers of smoking, which has made it difficult to convince many to quit the dangerous habit. While lamenting tobacco product proliferation in the country, the Vice President noted that government will be exploring strategies on how to reduce tobacco consumption, stressing that the presidency will give the support needed to ensure tobacco control laws and policies are effectively implemented in Nigeria. The federal government has inaugurated a committee to review and update the existing tax policy document, which was promulgated in 2012. Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun at the event said the review was to entrench and improve tax policy to effectively harness the much-needed resources for sustainable economic growth and development. Here is Leah Katumba Batunde with the details.
All proceeds constitute 70% of government's revenue, despite being only 13% of the GDP. The decline in revenue is further exacerbated by the abysmally low tax-to-GDP ratio in the country, which stands at 5%. The challenge before the present administration is to ensure that the roughly 87% of economic activities in the informal sector make meaningful contribution to government revenue. It is for this reason that the Finance Minister, Kemi Adeosun, inaugurated a 9-man committee to review the current tax policy document for improved revenue generation.
So we are determined to ensure that our tax policy sends the right message, being that Nigeria is open for business and is encouraging businesses with a tax system that is easy to understand and easy to comply with. Areas of our tax code and laws that are in need of review will be addressed as part of this exercise, as will modalities for simplifying our processes and reducing the tax burden on small businesses.
The minister emphasized government will pursue this vision with a human face. The committee is to be headed by Dr. Biola Sani, a lecturer with the University of Lagos. The review will be a continuous exercise as a means of evolving with global best practices and keeping up with the domestic socio-economic realities. The committee has 4 weeks to complete its assignment. In Abuja, Leah Katumba Batunde, NTA News.
The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Kayode Fayemi, says developing a viable roadmap that will ensure import substitution and backward integration would restructure the mining sector in the country. The minister said this on NTA's program Good Morning Nigeria while discussing efforts of the Buhari administration to revive the steel and solid minerals sector. Abdul Malik Adio tells us more.
Until we build the backbone of our industrial development, which still represents a major vehicle, we would not achieve our dream of an industrial revolution, which is the master plan.
The minister's comments are in line with federal government's policy of diversifying Nigeria's revenue base through investment in the agriculture and solid minerals sector. Dr. Kayode Fayemi says restructuring the sector would put Nigeria on the global map to becoming a mining nation. The stride is intended to help address the issue of unemployment while building local capacity as well as reducing capital flight.
What we've done with the new roadmap is to, one, strengthen the place of data. So we're proposing in it a new regulatory agency, for example. We're proposing in it a much more industrial-focused mining regime.
Other issues raised by discussants include the importance of industrialization as a driving force of any economy. They also called for an enabling environment to encourage development of local investments.
Manufacturers are finding it extremely difficult to buy inputs. That's why we need local substitutes. I think the government, the ministry, should do everything possible to ensure that there's an alternative to Itakwe.
If you create a national development bank that targets various aspects of development, industry, solid minerals, whatever it is, then you can extract concessions. You can decide that the interest rate would be lower, knowing that the ultimate objective is not just profit taking, but to guarantee development.
They also stressed the need for proper reorientation and synergy between the federal government, the state, and the host communities in tackling illegal mining in the country. In Abuja, Abdul Malik Adio, NTA News.
How civil society organizations can best participate in politics and governance to further consolidate on the current change being experienced by Nigerians dominated discussions at the second edition of the Kuka Center's Fixing Nigeria Initiative program tagged The Podium. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday has the details.
Former Governor of Cross River State, Donald Duke, led the discussion on whether civil society activists should jump from the streets to the political arena. Former Labour leader and Governor of Edo State, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, who was at the forefront of many battles with government officials and the organized private sector on issues relating to the welfare of workers, narrates his experience.
The problem with labor activism is that the purpose is limited. From the outset, the idea is not to break down a government. The idea is to defeat a particular public policy, not to defeat the policy maker.
Dr. Idayat Hassan and other principal interlocutors made their contributions. The theme of the summit is From Activism to Political Power, the Challenges of Democratic Governance in Nigeria. Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, who participants described as an activist with a collar, is the founder of the center. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
Still talking politics, exactly a month from today, the people of Edo State will be going to the polls to decide who governs them after Adams Oshiomhole's second tenure expires on the 12th of November this year. Ogochukwuka Ona reports that arrangements are on to ensure smooth and peaceful governorship elections in the state. Take a look.
Last couple of weeks, the atmosphere in every nook and cranny of Edo State has been politically charged with rallies and campaigns, brainstorming by critical stakeholders and other activities to ensure a hitch-free exercise come September 10. A drive around Benin City, the state capital, reveals that all is getting set for the D-Day, as the metropolis is literally painted in different campaign messages through posters and billboards. Residents say they are in high spirits as another opportunity for them to exercise their civic rights is just around the corner.
This is the popular Obaobaranwe Square, also known as Ring Road. Here we have been speaking with residents, and they are expressing their readiness for September 10. With me here is Mrs. Queen Asemota. She is a businesswoman. Ma, how prepared are you?
We are prepared by the grace of God to go and exercise our franchise, to go and cast our votes for who we love. We are not talking about the party, it's about the person now. Thank you.
What are your expectations from INEC, police? And,
we, from the security agents, we expect them not to be partisan, to be free, not to be one-sided. I don't really know how to say it, but all the same, we also expect INEC on their part to be free. There is no, in election, there is no victor. There is always a winner and a loser.
I'm very well prepared because I have my PVC card, that is voter's card. That is my power. I have it.
Definitely, I'm prepared. I'm fully prepared with my family to do it with all our heart. I'm waiting for the election to come. Then I will vote for my conscience.
If I'm Mr. A win, give her. If I'm Mr. B win, give her. Don't say because of them give you 2 trillion. Give you 2 trillion. God is recording whatever you are doing. We have our card already with us. And there's no other thing we have to do that day. And for us to go, we are set already.
For now, the major rallies which characterized last 2 weeks have eased off, as some of the candidates have commenced visits to groups and associations to sell their manifestos on a one-on-one basis. In Benin, Ogochkuka Ona, NTA News.
In the meantime, the People's Democratic Party Board of Trustees Reconciliation Committee says it is making headway in reconciling aggrieved persons towards resolving the leadership crisis facing the party. The committee has reached out to the factional chairman of the party, Senator Ali Modu Sharif, as part of its assignment. Let's get more on this from Abdullahi Garba Bernugodo.
With a mandate to meet all the principal actors in the PDP leadership crisis, the Reconciliation Committee met with Senator Ali Modu Sharif and his group for more than 3 hours. Chairman of the Reconciliation Committee, Professor Jerry Gana, says the committee is not a court of law or panel, but are to serve as intermediary to reach a truce.
The discussions have been very frank, very truthful, very patriotic, very educating in terms of doing the kind of thing that will allow us to propose solutions to the problems facing the party.
Senator Sharif said the party needs to address problem of impunity for peace to reign in the party. He, however, gave some conditions which the committee pledged to report to the Board of Trustees.
We are available for proper reconciliation of the party. They will go back to the BOT that set them to say what we have told them and what we think, if properly followed, is the way forward and the lasting solution for the party.
The outcome of the next meeting between Ali Modu Sharif faction and the Reconciliation Committee is critical to the party because it will be one of the determining factors for a successful convention of the party, which is only 1 week away. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Bernukudu, NTA News.
If you're just joining us, you're watching News Extra on the Nigerian Television Authority. Still ahead, developing a mechanism for quicker response to national security. Plus, Oba, who regained his freedom, speaks of his ordeals at the hands of his abductors. Join us again.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
My sweetheart! I carry my private jet go airport and they tell me, say, I never fit take up. That's a problem. Baby, don't rush. Relax and talk to me. Sweetheart, me bong that thing. Don't tell about I get. Madam! Baby, cut.
Call every time. Tell me, you dey thief my money, Abi?
No. Chief calling officer. Now, when you don't do this time?
The boy don't dey thief my money. See how he burn my pot.
Nah, just give me plenty credit. He don't lie. Airtel Smart Connect. Every time when you load 100 naira, they must dash you 500 naira on top. 250 naira to make call. The other 250 naira will give you 50 megabytes of data. Madam, make I tell you one secret why my credit not a big finish. I always recharge before the time where that one supposed end. Madam, this one not be Jara. Now over Jara.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth lies in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
It's truck month at Ford and we've got a Ranger just for you, Vincent. Here's the Workhorse 2.5 petrol single cab with free Ford Protect, a 4-year 120,000-kilometer service plan. Or the 2.5 petrol-based double cab with 800mm water wading capability, available in manual transmission and with free Ford Protect. So while stocks last, visit Kostaris Motors today. Because, wait for it, thanks Vincent. We've got a tough Ford Ranger just for you.
Chief, I agree. Every family must send a representative for vigilante.
Instrumental Sergeant, we are finished.
Chief, now we go take escape now.
No way to escape. The problem is how you go fit dodge the surround of the flood water.
Nine Sergeant on a flood water.
Chief, wallahi, flood don't finish up everything by my house, wallahi.
Ayua, a sticker does not shook a man into twice in one ice. The damn people name her National Emergency Management Agency had repeated warning upon on top of warning. Never you build a house upon on top of track road of flood. To securize your life and property. Avoid the true way of dirty in gutter and waterways to avoid blockage. Join hands today in the clear of dirty in gutters and drainages. If you are living in a house in waterway, once it's a rainy season, pack out to upland to securize your life. A stick in hand, a service number.
This message is from National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and Presidential Committee on Flood and Rehabilitation.
If you work hard and sow, you deserve a good harvest. That's only fair. If you study hard, you deserve good grades. That's only fair. If you train hard, you deserve to win the prize. That's only fair. If you work hard as an employee, you should have something to show for it. That's only fair. At Premium Pension, we understand it's what you put in that guarantees a secure future. Talk to us today about your pension plan. Premium Pension. The future starts now.
Every goal, every success deserves your all. Only 100% will do. Chivita, 100%. Chivita 100% juice. Made from real natural fruits. With no preservative and no added sugar. The best always believes in 100%.
Chivita, 100% or nothing.
Welcome back and thank you for being there. We begin this segment with security matters. The Nigerian Army has developed a new mechanism for improved quick response to national security threats in parts of the country. Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, said this in a paper delivered to participants of Senior Executive Course 38 at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru, Jos, Plateau State. Defense correspondent Muhammad Abdul Qadir has the details.
In a 27-page paper titled Responding to National Security Threats, the Nigerian Army Perspective, the Chief of Army Staff examined institutional mechanisms put in place to safeguard the nation's territorial integrity. Within the context of internal, external and transborder threats analysis, the Army Boss identified constitutional provisions, national defense policy, counter-terrorism strategy 2015, and military as well as paramilitary instruments of response.
The movement of the Military Command and Control Center to the northeast is one major response of the federal government of President Muhammadu Buhari towards responding to this national security threat.
The Chief of Army Staff said threats to national and global security in the 21st century are no longer interstate but intrastate owing to the growing prominence of non-state actors. The Chief of Army Staff said response to national security threats begins with an individual and down the line to the community level participation. From NIPS Kuru, Jos, Muhammad Abdul Qadir, NTA News.
Another report from NIPS Kuru says the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, says the federal government may have been exploring dialogue in resolving militancy issues in the Niger Delta region. The military will not watch while critical economic infrastructure are being destroyed by the militants. Air Marshal Sadiq said this during a lecture to course 38 participants at the NIPS in Kuru. Here is defense correspondent KG Busari Ahmed with that report.
Taking their turn to do justice to the topic titled Responding to National Security Challenges, the Military Perspective, the service chiefs...
Dialogue be dialogue, but while dialoguing, there must not be any doubts. No military will fold its arms and see the basic lifeline of the nation being destroyed.
The continued undermining of national institutions is the bane of national security in Nigeria. Therefore, national institutions will have to be empowered by reviewing existing laws, promulgating new ones, empowering law enforcement agencies and the judiciary.
Acting Director General of the Institute speaks.
We want to know what the security agencies and the military are doing to ensure that there is peace and tranquility in the country, so that poverty will be checked, prosperity will be given place.
The Chief of Air Staff also seized the opportunity to inspect ongoing projects at the 330 Nigerian Air Force Station, Jos, where he reaffirmed the commitment of the service to the provision of adequate welfare for the personnel. KG Busari Ahmed, NTA News.
And from Borno State comes a report that the Theatre Commander Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Lucky Irabo, has visited Damasak to encourage troops to continue with the zeal they have exhibited so far in crushing Boko Haram terrorists. Memuna Garba has the details.
The visit by the theatre commander in company of the acting general officer commanding 8th Task Force Division and other commanders came at a time when troops had successfully recaptured Damasak, a major stronghold of Boko Haram terrorists. Major General Erabo, while commending troops for their gallant efforts, also conveyed the Chief of Army Staff's congratulatory message on the successful recapture of Damasak, Kareto, and other strongholds of the terrorists with the support of troops of multinational joint task force. He charged the troops to maintain the tempo and to read their areas of responsibility of insurgents. General Erabo also interacted with the commander, officers and troops of the Republic of Niger and Chad, where he appreciated their contributions and partnership which led to the recapture of Damasak and environs and assured them of his support. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
In another development, the United States Agency for International Development has donated $37 million in addition to humanitarian assistance to victims of insurgency across the internally displaced persons camps in the Northeast. Foreign Disaster Assistant Director Jeremy Cognac disclosed this at a meeting with the Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, Mohammed Sani Sidi, in Abuja. Olajide Bello reports.
As normalcy gradually returns in the Northeast through combined efforts of the armed forces and other security agencies, the over 2.1 million internally displaced persons have been receiving humanitarian assistance from the federal and state governments, including international donor agencies, in providing for their basic needs. In furtherance of this, the United States Agency for International Development announced additional donation of $37 million to victims of insurgency in the Northeast.
It is very urgent, in our view, that the international community step up more, provide additional support, and work closely with the government of Nigeria and the government in Borno State to address this very, very dire situation.
The Foreign Disaster Assistant Director reiterated the United States government's commitment to step up efforts to humanitarian assistance. Lauding the contributions of the United States government, USAID and other international donor agencies, Director General National Emergency Management Agency, Mohammed Sani Sidi, said the donation will go a long way to cushion government efforts towards addressing hygiene and nutritional needs of the internally displaced persons.
Humanitarian dashboard is fast changing. We are working towards the rehabilitation of the people and their communities, reconstruction of infrastructure and full recovery, including livelihood options.
In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
The State Committee on Reconstruction, Resettlement and Rehabilitation of IDPs is ensuring that there are no diversions or sharp practices in the distribution of both federal and state relief packages to beneficiaries in their various communities. Mustafa Yusuf Musa reports.
The support to returnees to communities liberated from Boko Haram by the Yobe State Committee on Reconstruction, Resettlement and Rehabilitation of Internally Displaced Persons is complementing the federal government effort in ensuring life returns to the areas ravaged by the insurgency. The committee, led by the Yobe State Deputy Governor, Engineer Bokar Aliu, has specifically targeted communities in Gujuba local government once overrun by the terrorists, displacing the people, destroying their property and means of livelihood. This phase of distribution saw more than 10 villages under Gujuba and Guneri districts of Gujuba local government receiving 15 trucks load of food and non-food items. The items include 1,600 bags of rice, 150 bags of millet, over 300 jerrycans of cooking oil, 100 of cartons of noodles, bathing soap, 200 bags of salt, and bales of clothing materials. Two members of the State Executive Council, Mohammed Lamin and Ibrahim Dawa Megari, accompanied the committee's secretary and head of the State Emergency Management Agency, Musa Edi Jidawa.
The state government and the federal government are concerned about their flight for quite some time. They have now returned to their domains and they are now settling in their various villages.
The committee had also distributed 70 wheelchairs to 8 secondary and tertiary hospitals in Yobe State, including the Federal Medical Center, Nguru. In Damaturu, Mustafa Yusuf Musa, NTA News.
The traditional ruler of Iba, Oba Goriola Oseni, who was kidnapped about 3 weeks ago and regained his freedom on Saturday, the 6th of August, has been recounting his ordeal. Iyabo Waleri visited the palace of the monarch and now reports.
Since the 16th day of July, when the news of the abduction of Oba Goriola Oseni broke out, activities on the palace, according to the eldest daughter of the monarch, Dayo Oseni, have been low-keyed as the family waited anxiously for the release of the monarch. Normalcy is now back on the hitherto quiet place as visitors, including traditional rulers, state functionaries, family members, friends and others thronged the palace to felicitate with the family on the safe return of the traditional ruler. Oba Oseni could not hide his joy as he recounts his ordeal to the people.
Immediately they carry me here. So you yourself, I know for myself that without fire there will be no smoke. Baba, sit down. I have to sit down on the floor. And you will be sleeping on the floor. That night I slept on the floor.
The State Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Musli Ofalami, and others speak on efforts of the state government at ensuring adequate security of lives and property, especially in the rural areas.
We are making inroads into the community. But in terms of security, I want to say the criminality is more pronounced in the urban than rural.
The traditional ruler of Iba, Oba Goriola Oseni, was released on Saturday evening with 2 of the abductors arrested by the police. In Lagos, Iyabo Waleri, NTA News.
And for a bit on energy matters, the development of large hydro dams is described by sector participants as key to Nigeria's quest for improved electricity power generation and meeting other crucial sectoral needs of the nation. In this report, Hamza Musa Makarfi takes a look at the issues.
The Three Gorges Dam in China, one of the most outstanding in the world, with instantaneous capacity of generating close to 25,000 megawatts of electricity. On the African continent, many countries, including South Africa, Egypt and Democratic Republic of Congo, are ahead of Nigeria on hydro infrastructure development for electricity. But Nigeria is optimistic and has a vision, hence a new commitment to do more. Nigeria's initiative between the late 60s and early 90s witnessed the inauguration of large dams development into the system, as findings reveal there are 20 large and 300 small dams in Nigeria. The perspective of sector participants is that Nigeria needs more large dams for electricity generation, agricultural development, and flood control. With good water flow or rivers Niger and Benue and other inland water bodies, Nigeria can go beyond single spot development of dam infrastructure along their courses.
And studies have proved that, in fact, you needed to have dams in Lokoja and somewhere before Onitsha. And these are dams that could give you up to 1,000 megawatts each. And then on the Benue, it's the same thing. It's not just one dam you need to do, you need to cascade.
The need for energy diversification, participants say, is justification for the development of large hydro dams.
If we have other alternatives, what are these alternatives and what are we doing about them? We have the Mambila Hydro, we have Kashimbila, we have all these. How far have we gone with these things? Let's make sure that continue.
Dams don't come cheap. In fact, all infrastructure. It is necessary that the government, and when we say the government now, we have a planning ministry that ought to advise the president, the leader, so that he can be firing on all cylinders.
The construction of large dams is, however, time-consuming. Hamza Musa Makarfi, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Information and Culture has opened bids for the 2016 capital projects. Anthony Forson reports that the ceremony was presided over by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Mrs. Ayotunde Adeshuba.
In attendance to witness the bid opening for this year's capital project for the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture were members of the ministry's tender board, company representatives, members of civil society and transparency organizations. Permanent Secretary in the ministry, Ayotunde Adeshuba, said the exercise is in line with the 2007 Public Procurement Act.
In fulfillment of the law, bidders were informed to submit duly completed technical and financial tender documents in separate envelopes before 12 noon today.
She maintained that successful companies from the technical evaluation will be invited to the next stage of the exercise,
which is the financial bid opening. I assure you that due process will be followed in the evaluation of every bid document, and all successful bidders will be accordingly recommended and awarded the respective contracts.
In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
In another development, the presidency has approved October the 1st, 2016 as the new date for the commencement of the enforcement of speed limit device on all commercial vehicles, which is set to account for about 65% road traffic crashes in the country. Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi disclosed this at a stakeholders forum in Abuja. Aliu Tukur has the details.
Nigeria is ranked second highest out of 193 countries in the world on road traffic crashes, and this accident is the second highest cause of death. With these facts, sometimes last year the Federal Road Safety Corps introduced the implementation of speed limit device on all commercial vehicles to cut down the trend. But this met stiff resistance, leading to the suspension of the process by the National Assembly.
After a thorough explanation and understanding, the National Assembly have become a leading stakeholder in ensuring that the program of speed limiting in this country has come to stay.
We don't need to pursue any vehicle. We just stop you, like we verify the license, and on the tablet we verify whether your vehicle has been installed with the speed limiting device. That's the most important thing. If it has not, we impound the vehicle. We do this for the next maybe 3 to 6 months.
We are going to be watching, receiving appraisal and monitoring from time to time the compliance from the drivers.
Stakeholders comment on the development.
I thank God for the president of this country. Nigeria has been existing for so long. There's not anybody bring this idea.
Government should please speed up the process of road rehabilitation and reconstruction.
Now that the speed limit device is here to stay, stakeholders have also agreed that from now on, all commercial vehicles that will be imported into the country or manufactured in this country should have the speed limit device, or else it will not be allowed to ply the roads. In Abuja, Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online through the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Up ahead on News Extra, business news, and the Apex Bank moves to sanitize inward monetary transactions. Do join us again.
This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now, through our technology. LG OLED TV.
Chi Happy Hour. Burst off refreshment.
House of Chi.
M5 Plus with a 50-20 milliampere battery that lets you play for up to 3 days on a single charge. Gioni M5 Plus, always in power.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Darling, what's the matter? It's your birthday. Guests are already waiting at the pool.
It's headache, cold, pains all over my body.
Cold Time Anti-Cold Tablet's powerful ingredients specially prepared to bring you fast relief from headache, body ache, cough, flu, cold, and fever. Baby, how are you feeling now?
Wow, I feel great thanks to Cold Time Tablet.
Cold Time Tablet also available in syrup for children. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Cold Time Anti-Cold Tablet, a quality product from Embassy Pharmaceutical and Chemicals Limited. Cold Time Anti-Cold Tablet, your visa to healthy living.
Are you still shaving the same old way? Shaving on dry skin can be uncomfortable. Try Gillette Bluetooth Plus. It has 2 chromium-coated blades and a lubrication strip that's activated by water. You'll be surprised just how smooth Bluetooth Plus feels. And even more surprised at the affordable price. Gillette Bluetooth Plus, surprisingly smooth and affordable.
Across the 6 geopolitical zones in the country, the Future Assured Project, an initiative of Her Excellency, wife of the President, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, is restoring hope to millions of Nigerian women and children.
Future Assured, assuring the lives of women and children.
For women and children, great future starts today and now.
Future Assured, the progressive future for women and children.
Supports the Future Assured initiative. Email programs@futureassured.org.ng.
Future Assured is about our generation.
Future Assured for you and I. Future Assured, promoting and protecting the lives of Nigerian women and children.
Hello again, you're watching News Extra on the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. Now, let's find out what's happening in the world of business. Experts call for the strengthening of the principles guiding cooperative societies for effective utilization of some funds. Let's get more on this from Abdullahi Muhammad.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on Business News. Decades of inadequate investment in the development of critical infrastructure has left the business environment unfriendly. In spite of these, it is estimated that more than 35 million small-scale businesses still thrive. In the midst of these challenges, experts say access to finance stands out. This is why some financial analysts are calling for the restructuring of the principles guiding cooperative societies and adopting measures that will motivate the banking system to lend to the real sector of the economy. The analysts emphasize that the cooperative society remains the most effective means of disbursing funds to the small-scale businesses and farmers.
When a member is accessing a loan, he gets a guarantee of at least 2 members. And those 2 members that guarantee a loan beneficiary must have pledged their own assets with the society. So when a loan beneficiary defaults on the repayment of his loan, the assets of the guarantors are taken to net off the loan that the beneficiary has collected. So technically, what you have is that even when a loan beneficiary is not repaying, because they're using the assets of the guarantors to set off the loan that he has assessed, then the society has recovered his money.
Analysis by some observers also proved that the banking system may continue to shy away from lending to small businesses, especially farmers, as a result of some stringent measures adopted by the regulator and the high risks involved.
Classical example, the price of tomato has crashed from an all-time high to an all-time low now. Assuming a bank can lend to a tomato farmer based on an average of that old price, the midpoint of that old price, you know what would have happened today? At current price, even if the tomato producer has not done anything to default, he will default. But should there be a marketing board or an off-take arrangement that the government has put in place? The government would have guaranteed the lender.
That's business news this evening. Thanks for being part of it. News Extra continues shortly. Stay with us.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, stakeholders in pension administration in Nigeria have expressed satisfaction with the establishment of the National Pension Commission office in the Northeast Sub-region. Emmanuel Akila reports that this was at the official commissioning of the zonal office in Gombe.
Solution to the wide range of problems that bedevil pension management in Nigeria, the federal government set up the Pension Reform Committee, which gave birth to the Pension Reform Act 2004 and subsequently the Pension Reform Act 2014. The Pension Reform Act 2014 is now the legal document guiding the National Pension Commission on efficient management of pension in the country. In its efforts to reduce or eliminate the problems of pension, PENCOM establishes offices across the country to bring its services to the doorsteps of retirees, pensioners and other beneficiaries of the Commission services. The Northeast region, the Director General of National Pension Commission, Chinelo Anohu Amazu, said would not be left behind.
It is our sincere expectation that retirees, active workers, all other stakeholders will seize this opportunity provided by the existence of the zonal office to lodge their complaints, seek enlightenment, demand support as may be required from the National Pension Commission.
The turn of the region to have an office of the Commission is received with happiness by pension stakeholders when Governor Ibrahim Hassan Nankombo of Gombe State formally commissioned it.
Gombe State would spearhead efforts towards ensuring that all states in the northeastern geopolitical zone fully implement the scheme.
PENCOM hosts the stakeholders to a conference to discuss pension matters with the theme Pension Reform Act 2014, Innovations and Improvements to Nigeria's Pension Sector. Participants had the opportunity to ask questions, and the resource persons, which include Muhammad Kabir Ahmad, Muhammad Sunusi Dagash, Muhammad Mustafa bin Ture, Igwahide Lonke, and Kairat Abdurazak Gbadabe, provided answers and shed more light on grey areas, leaving the participants better enlightened. In Gombe, I am Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
Economic experts say the recent Central Bank of Nigeria directive on agent banks to kickstart dollar sale to BDCs is a win-win for all to guarantee security in growing the economy. Talatu Ezerike reports that they were speaking on NTA's Current Affairs program Tuesday Live.
The Bureau de Change financial operators recognized globally are guided with laid-down rules and regulations for effective development and security. Analysts say the Central Bank of Nigeria is repositioning the sector for growth, particularly with its recent guidelines that will curb sharp practices within the foreign exchange market, guide against inflation, and provide support for the small-scale end users in line with best international practices.
Some of them, when they return this money, they bring it unofficially into this country, sell it in the black market, harvest the profit, use it to open an Naira account in Nigeria. I don't think any country will sit by and allow that to happen to its economy. Imagine where we have $21 billion in our reserves, today, we wouldn't be going through this hassle.
CBN has been sanctioning, erring banks, erring BDCs, and any operator that has not complied with read down regulations. We are going to improve on surveillance and improve on sanctions to ensure better compliance.
For economic watchers, the new policy is not a somersault, but right stand that should be commended and supported for a holistic advancement.
We hope they should also be a major source of foreign exchange, not just to rely on what they could get from the market. They should also be sources of supply.
Our focus should be more on economic sustainability. In those things you need to buy, what Nigerian alternatives are available. If you begin to look at it in that way, the amount of enterprise that we need to do will begin to emerge.
No doubt the interest of the Central Bank of Nigeria is to build a stable economy through guaranteed enabling environment that protects the consumers against abuses and stiffer punishment for economic offenders. Talati Ezavike, NTA News.
A professional women management organization, WIMBIZ, has commemorated its 15 years of existence with renewed commitment to change the narrative of women in politics and the civil service. Waziru Zayano tells us more.
Unlike her forebears, today's woman is walking the walk with distinctive value of accomplishment. In the same vein, Nigerian women are striving to excel in various professional endeavors in their motherland, African continent, and the world at large.
That women can see other women have done well will give them the opportunity to think about it. But I don't believe that a woman should expect that everything will drop from the table. You have to work hard.
Managing a business is just like managing the home as well. If they can manage their families, they can actually manage like businesses too.
Since 2001, the Women in Business, otherwise called WIMBIZ, has been promoting unity and professionalism in a country that is fast drifting along tribal and religious idiosyncrasies.
WIMBIZ was birthed 15 years ago, and the whole idea was to support women through their journey in business and management. Recently, in 2012, we added public service to cover women across all of these different sectors.
While celebrating 15 years of legacy and its proof, the organization engaged the thoughts, words, and deeds of Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna State, who spoke extensively on the volatile and constantly challenging Nigerian economy.
I think what China did is what we need to do. Invest strongly in infrastructure, in education and healthcare, and mitigate the risks inherent in agriculture.
From all intents and purposes, WIMBIZ has tried to prove that its objective by far outweigh meetings to gossip, go into fashion, merrymaking, or engage in cosmetics issues. In Abuja, Waziru Zayano, NTA News.
Turning to the education sector now. The National Open University of Nigeria has made a case for its graduates to participate fully in the National Youth Service Corps scheme. Franca Uzoma Olwa reports that the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Abdullah Adamu, also appeals to the National Universities Commission, NUC, to work out modalities for graduates to be accepted into law schools.
As the first open and distance learning university in the West African sub-region, the National Open University of Nigeria now prides itself as the only university where all the local government areas in Nigeria are represented by its students. But this nationalistic outlook, according to the Vice-Chancellor, is dampened by some discriminatory laws that affect the students in the areas of participation in the NYSC scheme, admission into law schools, and the inability of students to pursue postgraduate programs.
Prayer for NUC to facilitate the use of university hospital laboratories on an MOU basis for non-science and clinical-based students throughout the Federation.
Executive Secretary NUC Professor Abubakar Rashid promised to look into the matter.
The NYSC, which of course many members or many graduates of NOUN may not qualify, because quite a number of NOUN graduates will be above the age of 30 when they complete their studies. But technically, even if it is only one member who is under the age of 30,
should be allowed to go to NYSC.
Similarly, the National Board for Technical Education is seeking the cooperation of the NUC to change vocational qualification to National Qualification Framework to discourage the existing dichotomy in the sub-sector.
We should work towards formation of the National Qualification Framework, which will take care of all qualifications, irrespective of where and when or how acquired.
For now, the board is striving hard to find solutions to the neglect of the non-formal sector of the economy, which contributes more than 70% to the country's economic growth. Franca Uzoma Olwa, NTA News.
The Director General of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, Irina Bokova, has arrived in Nigeria on a 3-day working visit. She was received at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by officials of the Federal Ministry of Education, led by the Permanent Secretary Folashade Eson.
Nigeria is a very important member of UNESCO, member of the Executive Board at this moment, and before a very active, I would say, its agenda for sustainable development 2030 for the next 30 years, and we want to see how we can accompany the ambitions of the government. We are very much concerned about some of the extremist attacks, the terrorist attacks.
The Director General of UNESCO there. The FCT Minister, Malam Muhammadu Bello, has approved the appointment of Adamu Hussaini Jibrin as the new Director of Land Administration and Dr. Isa Jallo to take charge of the Abuja Geographic Information System, AGIS. In a statement by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Dr. Babatope Ajakaye also named new directors of Parks and Recreation, Development Control and Satellite Towns Development, as well as other departments and units. In the next part, rice on the plateau, and check out the amazing market in Niger State. Do join us again.
Successful political change must begin to improve people's daily lives. That is the democracy dividend Nigerians have waited for. But no one should expect that all the damage done over a generation can be undone in a year. Real change demands perseverance and patience. It demands openness to honorable compromise and cooperation. It demands support on a constant basis from the people of Nigeria and from your friends abroad. That does not mean being patient with corruption or injustice, but to give up hope because change comes slowly would only be to hand a victory to those who do not want to change at all. Remember something we Americans have learned in over 224 years of experience with democracy. It is always and everywhere a work in progress.
Get ready to move on up with EcoBank. Easy access to your account wherever you are in the world. More ATMs across Africa than any other bank, so there's always one closer to you. The freedom to pay with a card instead of cash. To bank with your mobile anytime, anywhere. Or send money thousands of miles in a flash. Plus, smart ways to save and invest so your children can move on up too. And trust EcoBank to help with the things that matter most. Visit us online today and move on up with EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
hectic lifestyle or overeating can cause a burning pain in your chest. That's heartburn. Take Gaviscon. One dose relieves in 3 minutes to soothe the pain of heartburn. It goes straight to the source to work for hours, providing long-lasting relief.
That's why I recommend Gaviscon.
I recommend Gaviscon. Gaviscon, fast relief you can actually feel.
If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor.
Xiaomi M5 Plus with a 50-20 milliampere battery that lets you play for up to 3 days on a single charge. Xiaomi M5 Plus, always in power.
Hey, I just had a shower, but why do I still feel so hot and sweaty?
Let me finish this and I will show you something surprising. Let's take a look. See, heat means sweat. Sweat brings germs. Dettol 100 times cool. It removes germs to leave you feeling clean, fresh, and 100 times cool. Beat the heat and germs with Dettol 100 times cool.
Dettol, endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Welcome back to News Extra. Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State has flagged off a rice production value chain that will benefit over 1,395 farmers in the state. The rice production cluster project of 1 hectare per farmer is to be cultivated in 7 local government areas. Jummai Stephen reports that the project will cost over 230 million naira.
With the dwindling price of crude oil and the federal government's determination to diversify the economy, this rice production project by Fadama 3 is aimed at empowering farmers and also generating more earnings for Nigeria. Flagging of the project at Nkai Ajikamai in Shandam local government area, Governor Lalong said agriculture is the key strength of the present administration and is optimistic that this will bring about a turnaround in the sector.
While I give assurances of our commitment to do more to improve the attainment of the food supply value chain, may I, like the proverbial Oliver Twist, request the World Bank to consider the provision of critical infrastructure that will enhance the food value chain, essential components of road, rural electrification, mechanized irrigation system, and one-stop shop for this market will guarantee the completion of the value chain.
Fadama 3 National Project Coordinator Adetayo Adewumi described the flag-off as significant with the second-place rating of the state by the federal government supervision mission early this year. He said rice was added to the tomato value chain following Governor Simon Lalong's request.
Two small-scale infrastructure, and the essence is the viability of the road we are constructing. And from what we have seen, the road under Fadama should be linked up to economic activities. And with what we have seen here, we have a lot of land and we need to give them good road.
Plateau State Fadama 3 Project Coordinator Gideon Dandam said requirements for the project include a business plan which will ensure the provision of improved seeds, herbicides and machinery. The project, which will involve 1,395 hectares, experts estimate that it will produce 6,995 metric tons of rice. And Jos Jummai Stephen, NTA News.
Though Nigerians are yet to come to terms with the technology of genetically modified organisms, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Science and Technology says it is a science of the new agricultural age designed to modify crops to survive diseases and droughts. Science correspondent Kerian Omayo attended the open forum of the National Biotechnology Agency where issues of GMOs were played up.
There are no significant empirical evidence to show that GMOs are harmful. We are the custodians of scientific facts regarding the safety of GMOs. This seminar was therefore organized to sensitize staff of the ministry so that you will be well informed about GMOs.
The forum highlighted the controversy over GMOs, which many perceive as dangerous to human beings and the environment. Scientists explained that there are national biosafety guidelines to regulate the practice of any genetic modification process.
And I've also assured Nigerians they need not worry, they need not panic. They should believe and trust government position. We are scientists, and this thing is scientifically based. It's not based on assumption or just because somebody said it. No.
So in genetic modification, the issue of danger does not arise. Why do I say so? Because in all scientific publications, if there is any science in this world that is highly regulated, genetic modification is one.
What in your opinion is the danger inherent in GMOs that leads to the fight against it by a number of people?
I don't see the danger in it. The only danger that can arise can only come from uncontrolled practice of the technology. And we have systems in place to ensure that this technology is practiced under a regulated system.
The National Biotechnology Development Agency, NABDA, has, through GM process, evolved a confined field trial for rice, which focused on nitrogen use, water efficiency, and salt tolerance. The BT cowpea modified to be resistant to marrow insects. The Africa biofortified sorghum created to have increased content of vitamin A, iron, and zinc, and Biosafety Cassava Plus modified to have enhanced vitamin content. The Biosafety Bill was passed in 2015 by the 7th Assembly. Kerian Umayo, NTA News.
Kwata Market in Niger State stands out as the only one of its kind in the north. It is a riverside market that serves over 100 communities who live along the channel of River Niger across 3 states. Hamisu Rogo reports that this market is the live wire for thousands of families across the channel and beyond.
Kwata Market is unique. It is nowhere near formal human settlement. It is in the wilderness of Shiroro country, on the bank of an invasive river. This market is the outlet of over 100 communities who live along this channel of River Niger. The communities have no access road. For decades, the river is their highway. Every market day, over 70 boats arrive the market with exclusive products from the riverine communities. Fish is a major product. On the other side of the river, hundreds of buyers, sellers, middlemen storm the market. This is a scenario where fish vendors swarm to catch up with the fish suppliers arriving from the riverine communities.
Midday is the time when the big canoes arrive the market. And when they come, you can be amazed at their content. No small boats can carry the content they carry. And just wonder that it's just a wooden canoe. And just you can look at them now as they arrive. Inside them you will find cattle, you will find grains, you will find other livestock, and of course, you will find fish.
It is amazing to see cows and grains loaded to a canoe, covering distances of over 300 kilometers. Not only are fish and livestock the only product the communities bring to the market, wood too and grains. The wood section of the market is actually matched only in size by the fish section. Because the products are relatively cheaper here, people arrive the market from fantastic distances to buy fish and wood.
When I was even from Suleja, I used to come here and buy fish very, very cheap. But as time goes on now, the fish that we used to buy as the rest of 1,200 here is now getting to 8,000.
Now these people bring livestock, fish and wood to the market. I just wonder, what do they buy and take back home with? I wanted to stay behind to see what these people carry back to their localities. But then it was getting late and the people are in no mood to go back. In Shiroro local government area of Niger State, Mohammed Hamis Rogo, NT News.
Thank you very much indeed, Hamiso, for that interesting report. Sports is just ahead on News Extra. We'll be right back.
The production, distribution and sale of counterfeit and fake drugs is a corrupt practice and a crime against humanity. This has informed several measures and strategies to combat fake drugs, including introduction of anti-counterfeiting cutting-edge technologies to detect fake drugs on the spot. These technologies are being deployed to all the states across the Federation, as well as the internally displaced people's camps. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, and his team are committed to this fight.
The federal government of Nigeria, in line with its anti-corruption agenda and posture, will fight a total war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products in order to ensure that Nigerians remain healthy and well.
Lend your support and join NAFDAC to rid the country of fake drugs and unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Nigeria! Always pushing.
Student is